talent acquisition, learning and development, performance management, diversity and inclusion, among others. She is a certified recruitment and selection specialist and holds certificates in strategic HR management, training of trainers from the Uganda Management Institute, that is UMI, among others. So Shamim holds an MBA in HR management from Lim Koing University of Creative Technology. For her entire career, has revolved around supporting HR practitioners through top HR consultancy firms, including NFT Consult, Q-Sourcing, and Aldelia Global Manpower. So Shamim, we are really privileged to have you with us. We are privileged that you could set aside the time to come and be with us. And we are really honored. We don't take it lightly. So a very warm welcome to you. Our president will have the closing remarks, but without further ado, we are already running late. We are 7 minutes gone and would like to get the best out of this. I'd like to welcome you. Maybe you can just say hello to our participants before then we kick on.
All right, thank you very much, Jackie, for that wonderful introduction. Special thanks to Shao for organizing this amazing session. I think it's going to really help so many people out there who are in the job market, as well as those who are looking to enhance their careers and be better versions of themselves. It all starts with how you present yourself and how you would like your brand to be. So I'm very glad to be part of this, and thank you very much. I'm ready to take on.
Okay, thank you, Shamim. You know, when you talk of CVs, many people think of a paper, you know, my paper, which speaks on my behalf where I'm not. So to kick off, I'd like us to start with the digital CVs. I've got loads of CVs out there. I've got LinkedIn, I've got a CV on there, like my profile is on there. I've got TikTok, I've got Instagram, I've got Facebook. So I've got so many other CVs out, you know, out of the normal professional CVs. Just to start us off, before we go into now the professional, you know, CV that we present for work, can you quickly at least give us a brief on the impact that these digital CVs have on our image, you know, with, you know, how they, you know, will influence your bringing me on board or not, how they impact my reputation as an individual, and how they can work for me as well. So if you could please, you know, get into that before now we go to the formal CV writing. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Jackie. Yes, indeed, it really starts with not just a piece of paper, but all the activities, all the steps that you've taken to get to where you are in your career. We all struggle to rise in our careers, and most of the time we believe that perhaps it's going to be worth it at the end. So what I can start with, if we are talking about that digital CV, it starts with you as an individual. Whatever is written about you, whatever is spoken about you, whatever goes out there, really depends on how you portray your brand and how you portray how people would like to visualize you, your reputation. And then it all comes to proving yourself. In that job, it's about, can you really prove to us that you're this person that we're seeing out there? Just like we all know, we have different platforms that are used to enhance our brand. We have LinkedIn, which is considered as the most professional in the job market. If you have a really good profile, surely someone is going to notice you and want to get to know you better. We have other platforms like Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, quite a number of social media platforms that people actually look at. People can just Google your name. That's why usually what you can do as a self-reflection, you start by Googling yourself. What comes up? If there's nothing, then that's a problem. That means to the world, you don't really exist. They can't, you're just a mystery. Someone can't know who you truly are. But if you Google and you see just funny photos of you that you took years ago, maybe you at parties only, maybe you wearing bikinis or showing your muscles, someone would definitely have their impression based on what they see. So the digital CV really starts with you and how you would like to build your brand, your reputation. So what we're going to dive into is how to be intentional about it. You know what you want to be in future, you know the kind of career that you want to go through, and you know that there is need for that kind of balance. So how do you want to present that information in a way that's going to sell you and enhance your career? Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you very much, Shamim. I'm going to Google myself straight after this session. But very interesting because I've actually had interviews. I've had recruiters contact me on LinkedIn or organizations contact me on LinkedIn, and I've gone all the way to doing interviews. So yes, now I really do get it. Once in a while you can think maybe it's fake. Out of everybody, it's me they've picked out. You go all the way until you get to overstage and say, no, I think I'll stay where I am. But okay, we are going to repackage ourselves nicely now that we know that digital CVs also matter. So for all those who are participating today, thank you so much for taking off, the time to come and listen in. If you have any questions to ask, I'd like to request you to put up your hand or put it in the chat. So we'll come back to the questions. We'll have a Q&A session. We hope to be done by, is it 1:30? We're setting 12 to 1:30, and we hope to cover as much as possible. We thank you, for taking the time out. So we'll now go into our normal, the traditional CV, the do's and don'ts. I'm a recruiter myself. I've worked on projects and constantly, we are looking for good talent and recruiting. But when I look at CVs, Shamim, I look at CVs with spelling and grammar errors. I look at CVs which are 20 pages long. I look at CVs which have been formatted, in a certain way. Information not related at all to the position that, we are trying, to fill. Keywords are not there. And most of these CVs, it's just somebody's job description, every certificate they've ever done, whether it's first aid, whether it's firefighting, whether it's what, everything is listed in there, including the modules covered. Now, I know I've been told time and again, you recruiters, organizations receive hundreds of CVs for one position. So we're all fighting for the one position. You don't have time to go through thousands of CVs. I've been told that within, reading half the first page of, my CV, you will have made a decision on whether you'd like to go forward with taking me through the interview process and all that. So to start off with, what is it that I can do to make sure that I stand out? That when you look at my CV, because you don't have time to, maybe it's 2 pages long, you don't have time for the 2 pages, you have thousands. What should be in that very top half page that will capture your mind and make you want to talk to me further? If we can start from there before we go into the nitty-gritty details. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Jackie. And yeah, that's a very important question because as recruiters, you know that you have only 7 seconds to see if this candidate is good or bad. We can even do that test together. Just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Only 7 seconds. By that time, I've already screened through whatever I need to know. So you as the job seeker, just put it in mind that, yes, you're going to put in your all, you're going to express yourself, you're going to showcase your skills and abilities, achievements, but you have to be able to impress the reader, who's usually the line manager or the HR who is doing the shortlist, in only 7 seconds. So The most important items that should be visible, first of all, is your name. I have seen CVs, surprisingly, that don't even have the full name written on the first page. You have to scroll through to find it at the end. So I won't take that for granted. People need to know that the full name has to appear. Then your professional title. Usually, if you're aligning it to a particular role, it's important to make sure that the title at least depicts that information that they're looking for, those keywords that they are looking for in the job advert. Your contact information should not miss. I've also had instances where you find the perfect CV, the perfect person, and you look out for their contact and you just can't reach them. You struggle and struggle, and they're nowhere. You can't know how to find them. So contact information is very important, especially the attention to detail that comes with it. We have quite a number of people who put wrong email addresses. You just put like Ymail instead of Gmail, or if you forget the com, you put CO. So just that can ruin your chances of getting selected for the next level. Or if the number is wrong, if we really feel like it's a strong profile, we can still go ahead to look out for maybe a reference or someone to help get to you. But imagine all that effort. Why do you want a recruiter or an HR to have to go through all that effort to find you? It should be easy. Once you're good, let them call you immediately. Then if you have a LinkedIn profile that's strong as well, it's very okay to add it, because the beauty about connecting your CV to your digital profile is that it shows much more about you. It shows maybe your activities, the engagements that you have, what you spend your time doing. And if it's a professional platform like LinkedIn, it will just help the reader, the recruiter, get a deeper relationship with you if they go ahead to click and find out, okay, let me see what this person really does, what they're all about, what they post about, what they think about. Yes, and if you have a website or portfolio, if there is a link to that as well, please include it. Another important thing on the first half of the CV is your summary or objective. You have to make sure you include that brief statement that really reflects your competencies and why they should hire you, why they should consider you for this opportunity. One thing that cannot miss is passion. It has to have an element of passion. You really enjoy doing such work. It's not like you're just looking to tick a box in your career, in your life, but you actually want to express what you've learned and you want to implement it with passion. So that really sets the tone for the rest of the CV. Make sure you include your core skills and competencies that are aligned to the job description. And then what goes below that is really the experience, your qualifications, as well as any other trainings that you've attended. If you have awards, it's really good to also include that, but that I'm just sharing with you the order. If you have publications, because these are things that will brand you even more. So really keeping that information very specific to the job, aligning it to the role that you're applying for, will really get you noticed faster and will get someone interested in meeting you. Remember, this is just like a billboard you're seeing on the roadside, like Coca-Cola. You feel like, okay, now I want to taste it. Now I want to experience it. So the CVs should have that same effect for someone who's reading it. They're like, okay, now I really want to know who Jackie is. I want to know who Shamim is. Let me call her for the interview. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shamim. Yes, we now know what to put in, in the very first page. Make sure the contacts are correct, make sure the name is there, make sure the links to our profiles are there, to our digital profiles are there, so that you can even get to know more about us. So it's very important. We are all a brand. And yeah, this is really important. I hope the members have captured it. My next question, Shamim, I've been told that a CV should be 2 pages long. 2. The third page strictly for references. So everything that I've done, I've been working for 20 years, whatever years, I should be able to fit in my education, my achievements, my little summary of who I am, my competencies, and everything else in 2 pages, Shamim. Is it possible? Please let us know. And how do we do it to make sure we fit it all in the 2 pages? Because we don't have time. How do we do it? First of all, if it's possible, if not, what should be the length of the CV, and how to make it really stand out. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Jackie. Yes, indeed, just like you mentioned at the beginning of this chat, recruiters sometimes feel, okay, it's a job, it's a full-time job, just like any other job. So having to really struggle to pick out the relevant information from your CV can be draining for the reader. That's the reason why they always expect you to summarize as much as possible. Whatever you've done is in the shortest way possible, but still highlighting what I'm looking for. So I can give you advice on the length. I would say for fresh graduates, really the limited work experience might be really insufficient. But if you can focus on the education, the relevant coursework that you've done, if you've been an intern in a company, or even volunteering, extracurricular activities, something that would still speak for you, especially the interpersonal qualities. Because at that level, most of the employers are looking for attitude. They know that they need someone who has the right attitude, the right thinking capacity, and we're going to train this person. So I would say that 1 or 2 pages is maximum is okay for that. So for a mid-level professional, there you've done a little bit of work, you have a few skills and achievements. I would say that it's important to keep it not more than 2 pages for that level. But when you get to the senior level or executive level, it's important that now you really bring out your competencies, and that's where the achievements come out. Rather than listing the whole job description like how you got it for the different jobs, just make sure you pick out what does this job require me of. If, let's say, for a training coordinator, you need to have done a needs assessment, you need to have been able to create a nationalization plan or a strategy. Just rethink through your own experience. Make sure that it is valid, because they will ask you to explain. And if they see you fumbling, the assumption will be that you're lying. So if you can just think through, based on what they're asking for in the job description, how you can bring out the achievement. They need you to express how well you are at creating a strategy. Write the strategies that you have actually created and designed and have actually gone through. You've implemented them and there was a success. So that's being summarized as a sentence alone speaks volumes of you. It showcases your ability to create as well as implement, and actually see that there is something, evaluate that there is something that comes out of your efforts, not just ticking the box that me, I designed, that's what you wanted, and that's what I've done. If it fails, it's not my problem, it's the implementer's problem. But no, you show that you're hands-on. The best way to do that is through creating those achievements and listing them there in summary form, putting as many metrics as possible, such that you can demonstrate some sort of number or performance increase, something that can show, that can demonstrate for you. So usually it could be at least 3 pages for that level. So if it's something related to your industry, maybe you're now going into a consultancy, position. There, you just have to make sure that you indicate that relevant experience. So in my practice, I've seen that if you really want to push as much information as possible, try to limit it to not more than 5 pages. 5 is even quite a lot. We might not reach the 5th page. If you want to keep it safe, a maximum of 4. But if you have less experience, then keep it to 2, maximum 3. Thank you very much, Jackie.
Okay, thank you very much, Shamim. So people, please go back and review your CVs. 2 pages. Shamim is very busy. She's got thousands and thousands of CVs or hundreds of CVs to look at. Remember, by the time she's read half a page, she knows whether she wants to interview or not. So for interns, 1 page, maximum 2 pages. Please look at where you are and go back. Shamim, to add on to that, I looked at people's CVs, all the CVs I received. Somebody just lists their job description. It doesn't show their achievements. It doesn't show the skills that they're going to transfer from wherever they worked, how they're going to bring them into our organization. The tense, what tense should it, should a CV be written in? Like I said, I'm also a recruiter, constantly I'm recruiting, I'm on projects. And I need to fill these positions with really good people, but you look at the CV and all that there is exactly the job description, like the way I want, the job description to look, that is what it is. I don't see any achievements. I don't see any skills that they're going to transfer. Kindly guide us on how we can improve on that. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So yes, indeed, you actually hit the nail on the head when you say that it's very common that people just copy and paste their job descriptions into the CVs. But honestly, that doesn't work. And if it's a very senior role, persons can actually interpret that as a comprehension gap. Like you can't be that good and you're just copying and pasting. I've actually seen people in the same department, but using the same CV information. Like this person, they're applying for the same job because they're both competent, but the CV is exactly the same. That means they both copied and pasted. So if that's the case, we just have to be aware that these things can be noticed. What you are expected to do is not exactly what you did. So it's important, first of all, if it's a current role, make sure you use the present tense. Make sure that you bring it out in a way that this is what I do. I develop this and this and this. I conduct this and this. So if it's a previous job, you have to now put it in the past tense. Just imagine your CV is like a book. It's like a novel. So someone needs to have that interest, understand that, yes, this is this person's story. Currently, they are doing this. Previously, they did this. Before that, they did this. So every other experience has to be in past tense, such that it makes sense to the reader. If you just copy and paste from your JD, then it will all be in the present tense, and it will be very obvious that you didn't really do this. Maybe this is what you are supposed to do, but I can't guarantee that you did it. So I'll need to, I will not believe you. Even if I call you for the interview, I'll need to probe just to confirm. So you really don't need that. It's a distraction to the recruiters. And what you want to portray is the best version of yourself. Thank you.
Sorry. Okay, thank you, Shamim. That brings me now on to my next question. We are HSC professionals. We call ourselves QHSC, HSCQ, whatever it is. How much jargon are we allowed to use on a CV? Are we allowed to use any jargon at all? And if yes, how much? I'm applying for an HSC role. We know what HSC is. So am I allowed to, to say I was HSC officer here, or you as the person recruiting, what is acceptable and what is not?
All right. Yeah, there is a thin line around that. There is a difference between the person that shortlists versus the line manager. So the line manager or the hiring manager, the person who actually needs you, might understand that jargon very well, because when they see all those abbreviations, yeah, they know this. There are different versions of HSC as well. At least from what I've seen, there's HS3C, there's HHSC, there's QHSC. So at times, a role requires a very specific, maybe quality or specialization of HSE. So if someone knows it as the line manager, definitely he will be the person that they want to see. But just think about it as being open-minded. Think about the first level shortlister. We have some organizations that outsource recruitment services, and definitely most people who do the first level shortlisting are not as technical as those that need the professionals. So one way to just make yourself protect yourself from the risk of not being selected because of that jargon is to first create that definition of it. Like QHSC, in brackets, you put the full name, quality, health, and safety. If it's HSC, you put it in brackets at the very top, such that if someone is reading, they'll understand, oh, it actually has safety involved, it actually has health involved, such that when I'm looking for a QHSC and then I see HS3C, I'm like, no, this person doesn't fit. But if there is the keyword that is included and the abbreviation is open, that actually helps to remove that industry specific jargon bias that someone might have at the first level screening. So my advice to you is just make sure that those acronyms, the technical terms, and anything that is related to jargon is elaborated at least at the beginning. It could be in the professional profile, it could be in the skills, it could be somewhere that is visible for a recruiter, even if they are not technical in that area. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Charmaine. Members, I hope you're taking notes and writing down the questions that you will ask when we open the floor. Now, Shamim, another thing that I find on CVs is I'm Jackie Luanga. I'm Pentecostal. I'm married with 3 children. My hobbies are dancing, traveling, and going out. My whatever is this, a lot of personal information. How much is acceptable? How much, professionally, personal information can we put on a CV? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Jackie. Yeah, that actually brings that aspect of inclusion and ensuring that people don't, you're not biasing yourself. So when it comes to thinking of what information I should put, if I believe it's personal, is it a requirement? Is it essential? Will it help me maybe stand out even more? So during that, I would say that there's a general rule for CVs to really only include the essential details that are relevant to the job, that are relevant to your profession, something that might not necessarily bias you. So one thing I can confirm is the marital status. It can work against you in some cases because let's say it's a field-based job. When they see that this person is married, it may be like, this person won't be able to manage the field. And that could be a reason why they don't shortlist you. If you put your location, maybe it's a role that is remote, then you put you in Kampala. To you've already read that is where the job is. It's in a site, it's in all the way in Bulisa, and you know that you're ready mentally ready to move. But your profile might be like, this person is a city boy, city girl. I don't think she'll be able to handle that kind of environment. Let me save her, because the short list can be like, I'm saving you actually. Yet, in your opinion, you're actually readily available. You're hungry for this opportunity of maybe at least you might want the opportunity to sell yourself physically through an interview, such that you can know even more about the role and make a decision based on that interaction. But putting such information can bias. I would also say that date of birth, at times, your age can also be a route to bias you. They might see you as too young. Sometimes they're like, this person is too young. They were born in 1990 something. I'm like, they won't be able to manage. They don't have the maturity. Yet you yourself, you believe that, yes, I've actually gone through a bit of a hassle in my life. I've understood what it means to be independent, and I'm ready. So try to exclude that age part. Sensitive information like your name, social security number, that can actually be dangerous, because if someone looks you up and tries to maybe create that identity theft, you really don't want that, because CVs go far and wide. Personally, we have groups of HR practitioners, and I can just go on a group and say, I need an HSE specialist and I need them with these qualifications. And someone has your CV, they might not even maybe check in with you, but they just send. So the CVs can circulate very massively. You don't know in which hands it can get into. You don't know the intentions of the people. Some people want to actually extort money from you as a job seeker. They see that you're desperate. You'll be able to pay for a job even if the job isn't actually there. So you just don't want to put such sensitive information, those numbers, on your CV. About your health information, that's also, I consider it personal, because I also work with persons with disabilities. But there's that thin line between, should I put my disability on the CV or not? Will it increase my chances or not? If you have maybe a heart condition, should I tell them such that they don't put pressure on me when I get into the job? So you do have all those thoughts, but if you really just want to go through the application process on merit, I would really advise that you just look in at you as an individual, your qualifications, your expertise. All that information can be declared at the stage of the assessment. That way, if they call you, you know that, okay, I qualify for this job, and it's actually, I have earned it through my reputation, my education, my background, but maybe they're not going to take me because I have this challenge, I have this and I have to understand it and look out for people who can accept me as I am. Or if there are other methods that you can actually look out for places that are inclusive, that don't mind that characteristic. But for the CV, my opinion is not to include the health related or disabilities. If you're looking at the hobbies, that is also a gray area. I've had people who say that they actually look out for this. Sometimes recruiters need something to keep them interested and keep them motivated. So can actually look, what's this person's hobby as they are going through their CV. So what you want, if you want to keep it safe, is to just put hobbies or interests that still complement the opportunity that you're looking for. If you're saying that you love traveling and you're applying for a field job, that could be like, yeah, actually, the fact that he likes traveling, he can easily work well in the field. Or if it's something that involves a lot of research, report writing, and you put in your hobby reading, that there's a correlation there. But if you put like watching TV, they can be like, this person might not focus. They might be thinking of the movies instead of working. So just know that whatever you're putting there, you'll be judged accordingly. So even if there's something that you love so much, but you believe that it's not really related to the job, then it's better. It will be a point of amusement for the reader, but it could also totally bias you, and they put your CV aside. So that's what I could say about that kind of information. Please just put the focus on on your qualifications, your skills, your achievements, as well as your experience, such that you don't bias yourself at that point. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shamim. We'll try to keep our hobbies far. They say our CV speaks for us where we are not. So I'm not there like a billboard, it's speaking for me. So Shamim, because I'm so desperate, I want to stand out. I want you to hire me. Shamim, I'm going to exaggerate. I'm going to exaggerate my qualifications. I'm going to exaggerate my experience, my skills, everything. I'm going to exaggerate just so that I can stand out and you pick me out. I'm that desperate. I want to get that opportunity to an interview. Of course, when I get to the interview itself, you realize that the two are not matching. Is this the same CV? Is this the same person in front of me? You'll see that they're totally disconnected. But because we are desperate, we want to get in. How would you advise us to go about that? Because I've gone through it myself. I've seen lots of CVs that are extremely exaggerated. And when the person comes, I'm like, wow, okay. Yeah. So how would you advise us so that we do not make that mistake? Because when you call us for the interview, you realize that we can talk the talk, but we can't walk the talk. So what advice do you have for us, who are trying to learn how to do this right? To stand out, but without exaggerating. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Jackie. So there is a gray area around exaggerating, like actually seeing yourself for that hero that you believe you are. And maybe, let's say it's a choice of wording. Let's say you've been able to organize files, and then in the CV, you say you've been able to coordinate documents. You just use some wording that makes it look such a big, like it's a big deal. That I wouldn't have a problem with it because it shows a form of intelligence. But if it's a kind of exaggeration that tends towards lying, then that's where there's a problem. Because there are some dangers that come along with that. And mostly it's about your reputation. It could cause serious damage to your reputation. And once people discover it, this job market is very small. People, once one person speaks negatively about you, that no, that person actually is not that good. Then that information goes around and around, and people based on referrals. If they ask, I want to hire Elizabeth for this opportunity, I see that she has worked with you, or I see that you've interviewed her for this position before. You'll be like, no, don't even bother. She said that she could do it, but she actually couldn't. So if you can try to structure that information still to portray your abilities in a significant way, but as long as it's all within the truth, then that's okay. Additionally, it could have legal consequences if you're not careful. If you claim, let's say in your achievement, you claim to have done something significant that maybe impacted on the profitability of the company, but maybe when they check if it's a listed company, they can actually check the records publicly, and they say that this profit was never declared. She's lying or he's lying. That could actually bring legal consequences to you as an individual, because once it's reported to the company, they say this person is reporting negative things about our company. They're maybe affecting our brand, and you never know what it could do to your brand and reputation. So you want to avoid that. Can also basically you will miss out on opportunities when the people are too excited to meet you, and when you come, there's a benefit of doubt that recruiters have. Maybe during the interview, the person was nervous. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. But that can only be achieved if indeed there's an alignment. The exaggeration is still portrayed, even if you can't express it properly. Yeah? People may think maybe this person is an extrovert, etc. But if indeed they hire you and you really can't do it, they're asking you, okay, so you said you can speak French, go ahead and interpret this. Then you're like, is that setting? They'll be like, we wasted our time, wasted our money on this recruit. We have to now go through the whole process of dismissing. So it's a strain. So generally, it just does not apply positively to your career advancement. So please, whatever you do, don't lie. The last thing that they do in the recruitment process is background checks. So once someone confirms that indeed you didn't work in this place, you forged these documents, then definitely they will not recommend you for that job. So please just be careful around that. Thank you.
Thank you, Shamim. Professionals, you've had, there are even legal implications. So please, let's be very, very careful. I thought I had gone off. Let's be very careful and make sure that we do not over exaggerate. Let's remain humble. They'll call us for the interview and we will go out and blow their socks off. We'll knock their socks off. Now, Shamim, we've all been out of job at one point or another for one reason or another. There are always those gaps. Okay, we may be studying, which is easy to say that I was in school, but sometimes you're not even studying, you're job hunting for one reason or another, the company closed, or you find yourself out of a job. Now, those unexplained gaps, those gaps, that we have, in between our careers, we are not studying, we are not working, we are job hunting. How can we package those gaps nicely on our CVs so that the CV remains professional, the gaps do not remain unexplained? I'm out of a job, but you're not seeing there's this, unexplained gap. How can you advise us to be able to have it flowing properly without any unexplained gaps, even when we are not in a job? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So it is true that sometimes the gaps can bias your chances of being selected, but trust me, if whatever is available on your CV can speak for you and can enable them to make a decision based on that, all that will be noise. You can have gaps that can be justified for ladies. It could be childbirth, it could be different options, but if you can just justify for the period that you did work, it should be okay. So one thing that I can guarantee works is honesty. If you're truly honest, you'll find an opportunity that actually can accept you for whatever past you had, whatever challenges you might have had in the middle. Many people had a gap because of COVID. Many people had a gap because of various reasons, but they can all be explained. So if it comes, and usually it would come at the stage of interviews or assessments, so just make sure that you be honest during that time. If you can keep it related to still the opportunity and channel the minds to focus on, I had a gap, but I was still learning, I was still going for classes, I was still going for webinars, it will really showcase, it will remove the distraction and showcase that, what, there was a gap, but during that gap, she was still networking with other professionals in the field. He was still looking out for opportunities and engaging himself in something related to HSE. So just try to balance out that gap by justifying through activities you did. And it also helps you to plan. So if the next time you do have a gap, let's say job loss or anything related, don't close the door completely on learning. Don't think, I'm doomed, there's nothing I can do, let me completely switch off. You have to keep involved, these free webinars, YouTube classes, anything that doesn't take too much pressure of you, but can still be justified within the gap. You can also address it through professional development courses. Sometimes people have a gap, and you can say, during this time when I was not working, I was actually studying, and you can see it down here. So it balances it out. Can also talk to them about the transferable skills. Sometimes people mentor others, and you can say, if you speak to these people, I've mentored them. There are some people who actually open businesses during that time or do freelance work. So it's also allowed to include that, still putting it in the angle of the job that you're looking out for. Let's say I don't have a job. I'm going to be out of the job for a few months, but I've helped people to review their CVs. I've actually been paid to help people to prepare for interviews. I could include that as a section of work experience. Freelance, recruitment consultant, and the duties or whatever I did, achievements. I help people to prepare for interviews, manage to get 100% success rate. Still, it shows that you are using your skills during that time. So that's what I would believe would help you to manage that gap issue that might be in your CV. Thank you.
Thank you, Shamim. Professionals, please, where there are gaps, maybe you can do volunteer work, maybe you can do, but if it is a gap, it is a gap, like she said, like Shamim has said, do some trainings. So at least it shows that, yes, you're not working, but you're doing ABCD training. As long as you can, justify the gaps and everything, she said it's not a deal breaker. So where you have a gap, think about it, but we shouldn't have unexplained gaps on our CVs. It's very, very important. Shamim, for the young people, every job needs, 2 years work experience or so many years work experience. These are fresh graduates. These are people who are just coming out of school. And I know that even internship, even volunteering, all that other work that they do, because the skills that they're picking up as they're going along, can you just give them some guidance on how they can package that so that, where they need 2 years work experience, they might have 6 months work experience, which is still something, and they can still go in instead of saying, I have no work experience. How can we package that, especially for the people who are just coming into the industry, who have zero work experience? But probably they've done volunteering, they've done internships. How can they package that and they come in and it shows that they actually have some work experience? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Actually, it reminds me of the time that I was starting out in my career. It wasn't easy, and believe me, the shock that you get when you keep looking out for opportunities and they say that you can't work if you don't have experience. But the funny thing is that they actually need you to have the relevant experience in order to begin. So some of the things that can help you stand out when you're at that level is then the referrals that are given from other people. Let's say you did some volunteer work. If you can just request for a letter of recommendation from that place, that could actually speak volumes for you. If you attach it, if you actually ask the person to help refer publicly, if they can speak for you in rooms where you're not, they say, you know what, I worked with this person and they're actually good. I'll just tell you a little story about how I managed to break through that challenge personally. I studied my MBA in HR, but before that, I had done a bachelor's degree. I did my bachelor's degree in accounting and finance, and immediately I was lucky enough to have a scholarship to do my master's. So during that time, the only work experience I had was a night shift job in customer service. At that time, I was studying in Malaysia. So I just had to get something to keep myself busy, make enough money, but I still struggled to look for a scholarship. So generally, I considered that I didn't have the work experience in HR that I needed to break through my HR career, because that's the career that I selected. So what I did, I thought, I really reflected and I meditated on how I could break through. So once I decided, yes, now I'm here, I'm in Uganda, I'm actually driven to make an impact. I need to change something within the industry. I need to help people. You start with getting that upper, higher goal, something that's even bigger than yourself. You as an individual, you want a job, you want to get money, but what is that impact you want to create? So at that time, I thought I want to actually support people from a global perspective. I want to support people to grow and to develop and to be the better versions of themselves. And I've actually done the right qualification to help me. So for HSC, just look out for that impact you want to see. If it's about zero accidents, if it's about helping a process work, if it's about seeing a project go to success without any fallbacks, just think of something that's bigger than yourself, something that will drive you. So with that driving force, I thought, let me start applying. I did apply. Of course, it was hard. So I went out to start knocking on doors. But still, that background information that I had, the customer service work I had done, I still got a letter of recommendation. For the volunteering work I had done to earn the scholarship, I got that piece of paper. I was walking around with those papers, just something to boost what I had done, even if I didn't have the practical experience. And of course, your education speaks for you. That's why at the time when you're doing your degree or whatever qualification you are, diploma, certificate, just think about how you have to shine at that level. Your results have to be outstanding such that they can trust you, they can have that belief, because recruitment and selection is more about trust. Can I trust you to do this work? Will you disappoint me? Am I wasting money on you? So if you can convince them to trust you, that's where you'll really break through. So what I did to gain that trust as an individual, I started by volunteering. I approached the HR Managers Association, just like there is SHAO, just like there is any institution that has people of similar interests, similar profession around you. It's very good to be around such people, because you know that you'll not only learn, but there'll be that indirect growth that you soak up. So mine was just even a Google. I just Googled group of HR people in Uganda. I got the association. I went to visit them. I went for one of the trainings. I already felt that I was at home. I was where I belonged. I found out, I asked how much it took to join. At that time, I couldn't afford, but I was like, do you need any help? I can be of support if it's possible. And I started by, they just put me at the registration desk. Like, you just make sure people register. It's a compliance requirement. We need to make sure that everyone signs that has attended, such that we can work on the audits, etc. So I took that job seriously. I made sure I don't just make people sign, because you can put the paper and just tell people sign, sign, sign. But there's that extra effort that you put in. I will count people. I made sure that I make them feel welcome with a smile. I showed them to their seats. I asked them in the middle of the trainings, are you comfortable? Are you actually learning? I hope you're benefiting. So all that, eventually people gain trust. And just a few months down the road, someone just called me, one of those people who I just showed a seat. They called me and said, are you currently working? I said, no, like, please, I need you to come. I like the effort you put, the consistency, you're always there, you show up, etc. And I want you to come and work for us, for my company. We're looking for someone. still in a lower level than what you want, but it's a great start. So just gaining that trust, making people understand who you are in terms of your soft skills, your ability to perform. The rest of the information, they understand that it can be trained. You can learn the technical part, the principles. You have the right attitude. You think fast. You're able to learn, and I will not have quarrels with you on a daily. I will not have too much conflict with you. So they'll call you. So it's the same aspect. If now we're talking about the digital world, whatever you're doing, if you feel like you've done something even in your personal capacity and you feel like it is impactful, just post about it. It's better than posting things of you partying and what. I recently saw that outreach for Shao, where they did a benchmarking visit to the breweries. So just seeing that post, I saw it on Rachel's status, Natukunda. So just seeing that, it already makes me feel like, yeah, this person is passionate about, just by her attending. I can't confirm that she was a leader or organizer or what, but just that she attended, I saw it was visible to me. And I say that now that she has learned something from there, let me hire her in my organization so she can help me also understand what I can do better. So posting about such information, such achievements, such activities that you're doing, they can actually, you might not even need other people to speak for you. Your own digital reputations can speak for you and help you to gain that reputation that you need at the time of selection when they're checking you out. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Shamim. Very, very eye-opening. And indeed, when you do volunteering or internship, there are soft skills that can be transferred into the job that you're trying to apply for. But they say our attitude determines our altitude. So it's all about the attitude, and you start small. And once you prove yourself, you'll be able to go far. So you've mentioned about soft skills. How can we demonstrate these soft skills? How can we, highlight them into the job that we are trying to apply for? Are you able to guide us? Because you did touch it. So let me just, let me take it as my next question so that we know that these soft skills also do matter and they do make a difference when we're applying for these jobs. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Jackie. So soft skills are mostly felt. They're more felt than seen. And but if you want them to be seen first, since it's really right now you're like looking at a piece of paper, you don't know the person yet, unless you've seen them on social media or other places. You still have that mystery around who this person really is. So first of all, you can list them out. And the easiest way to demonstrate that you do have these soft skills is if you go for some of those short courses that actually teach the short skills. Personally, I'm into recruitment, but I went for public speaking classes because as an HR specialist, you are seen as a leader. People want to trust you to be able to cater for them. So that trust also comes with visibility and comes with audibility. So I knew that if I want to learn how to be a better leader, I have to be a better speaker. If I present something to the board of directors, I shouldn't be like shaking. I shouldn't be almost digging myself into the ground. I shouldn't be afraid to raise my hand to ask a question. I had all those challenges before, but I intentionally found out what is needed to build confidence. When I did my research, it was public speaking classes. I went for 6 of them because I went for the first, I wasn't ready. I went for the second, I thought I still didn't have enough. And this was one of the most important soft skills that I knew that would, once I master it, it will skyrocket my career. So investing in those soft skills trainings will help. There are leadership skills, public speaking, and so many others. Just look at what your profession needs and see what soft skills are required, and actually go for the classes, even if it's a YouTube class, even if it's something that is free, a webinar, or it's paid, invest in it. That my public speaking one was paid, the rest I actually support. I volunteered to moderate, but I learned through the moderation. I was still learning. So yeah, once you get those, you can also put them as part of your trainings. So definitely I'll be like, I'm hiring this person, and they say that they have public speaking skills, they have what, and they actually did the courses, and they have a certificate or something that proves that they went for the class. That alone can get someone to have that confidence. Additionally, for example, right now I am personally trying to build my speaking profile. If I'm blessed enough to be called for a speaking engagement with Shao, and there's a flyer, I'll share it on my profile, on my LinkedIn, and I'll mention that I'm pleased that I've been selected as speaker. So that alone can show someone else that, okay, this person is trusted enough to be called by an association to speak on this topic. That means they must be a subject matter expert, and let me trust them for my own challenge. Let me call them to see if they can help. That's the digital part of it, showcasing those soft skills through speaking, through your activities, through anything that can showcase them. So it's really about how it's felt. It's a feeling, and your reputation will speak more about the soft skills if people can also agree, attest to the soft skills. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Shamim. As HSC professionals, okay, we do have the technical skills, those we know we have. But of course, we know we have teamwork, we have communication, we have problem solving, because half the time, we are there to look for solutions, not problems. So, we have all those. So please, professionals, let's highlight these soft skills that we have, on our CVs. It might be what sets us apart. Now, Shamim, we've been told that you look at our cover letters, you don't even look at the CV. So the cover letter is what determines whether, the cover letter is short, it's like one page maximum. But when you look at the cover letter, you'll probably not even look at my CV, because the cover letter should tell you whether you'd like to interview me or not. What sort of things should we put in the cover letter to make us stand out, knowing that you get hundreds or thousands of CVs? If you're just going to stop at the cover letter as a filter, what should we put in there? Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Jackie. Yes, indeed. If a cover letter is requested for, at times it's the first level of screening before going to the CV. So generally, what should not miss out on the cover letter is your achievements. So many achievements that are related to the role that shouldn't go out, that shouldn't be missed. Of course, the basic things are you have to include your right contact details. I can't stress that anymore. But if I'm not going to the CV and yes, your information is there, or that's the whole summary of your CV, but your contact information is wrong or it's not there, it might even, as someone who's judgmental, because as the person who's reading your CV, everything they're reading, they're judging you. Every single step that is being taken, you're being judged. So you don't want them to think, okay, that this person lacks attention to detail. They did not even put their contacts. I can't trust them with my opportunity because they'll make so many mistakes. So just make sure you include that, the salutation. Make sure if you know the person you're sending it to, you address them by the name or the title. Don't assume that all HRs are madams. You might be sending to a gentleman, and you've written "Dear Madam," and they get offended. People are very sensitive. Just make sure you customize, be clear, be precise. Really customize it to the job that you're applying for. You have to express that enthusiasm. Don't just say that what you are and what you're able to do, but how excited you are to be a part of the job that you're applying for, or the company. You believe in the vision, mission, something that will enable them to connect that you would fit into the culture easily. Yeah, if you can highlight your achievements, your skills that are relevant to the job, the knowledge, your potential, and just don't forget to state what you want. Make sure you have that clear call to action. Say that I am looking for this opportunity, and make sure that that particular job title is there. Because some people have generic cover letters, but even if it's a template, at least customize that job title that you're applying for. And the skills and experience should be in line with that job title. And make sure that if you know where the advert came from, make sure it's also included. Make sure you have the right subject line, application for the role of this and that, such that everything is clear and it's attractive. It has to just pull someone to want to know, okay, let me now look at the CV, not let me move on to the next cover letter. So if you can just have all that summarized, preferably in one page, then you will be good to go. Thank you.
Just out of curiosity, is it true that you have an applicant tracking system, that filters, the keywords, and then now it keeps the others out? Is it true that you use those softwares? Yes, just a yes or no.
Yes, most companies do use them.
Okay. So my fellow HSC practitioners, please, when you're writing your CV, tailor it to the requirements of the job, because they have this software that just looks out for the keywords, and that determines on whether you're called out to an interview or not. So please make sure that you don't miss out any of the keywords in your application. So I'm going to open the floor, but before I open the floor, thank you very much, Shamim. For me, my takeaways are, okay, we've got to make sure that the grammar is right, there are no errors, the contacts are correct, the names are correct, and of course, not weird email addresses, whatever, it should be a professional email address. We should format our CVs properly, they shouldn't be too long. Contact information, you've really stressed it should be correct. The information should be complete. We shouldn't overuse jargon. We should focus on achievements and results, not the duties. So we should focus on what we've achieved and results. We should showcase our transferable skills. No excessive personal information that you've really stressed. The tenses should be consistent with where we are and where we've been. Our cover letters should be customized to the job, because that may be the deciding factor. That's where you might stop. We must demonstrate our soft skills. We shouldn't exaggerate. You'll do reference checks and find out that I'm completely hopeless. So yes, we should be, yes, we want the job, but we shouldn't exaggerate. Gaps should be explained, and it's not a deal breaker. We should explain our gaps. Any irrelevant information shouldn't be on the CV, and we should not neglect our online profiles. So for me, it's been a very, very good, session. I've taken out a lot. But since we have 15 minutes left, I'd like to give a chance to my fellow HSC practitioners, to be able to ask any questions. At least we have that time for the Q&A. So I don't know who will help me with it, whether it's Elizabeth, to unmute the people who put up their hands so that they can actually ask the questions. I try to cover as much as possible, but definitely we all know that our CV speaks for us where we are not. So I can see Dixon's hand is up. Dixon, are you able to unmute yourself, or should I unmute you?
Yeah, I'm able to unmute myself. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Jackie and Shamim, thank you so much. And Shao at large. I have two concerns. One is about to I have worked several. I'm multi-skilled, and here comes my CV has a number of skills, areas of professions, and let me give exact example of mine. Mine, I have ever worked on hospitals as health center public health officer. I've worked as a lab technician. I've worked as a health and safety officer. I've worked as a pest and vector control superintendent. Now the job comes, it needs a health and safety officer. Now, help me come to align my CV to that job so that I feel I should not, one mind tells me I should put up all my professions and all the experiences I've had so that in case there is that opportunity, people can look at this and this and that. But also, there is that the areas whereby you have those experiences, and there is what you normally call talent pooling, talent pools. You have those CVs and pull out someone with several experiences. So help me first of all to know how to format my CV to suit this job where I've had all these experiences. That is one. Secondly, um, some time back I was applying on the. I was told by a colleague that whenever I am applying for a job specific, I mean a job like have maybe health and safety, then I have to come up with all that concerns health and safety, even when I have never been in those areas. But I put every area. For example, I've worked a health center for, but I put, instead of me working as a health center public health officer, I put health and safety officer, and I put whatever I have done in those areas as a health and safety. Yet I have not been that. So can you help me compose have a CV which has number of tasks and can be talent pooled, but also have this one which has job specific. Thank you so much. Let me know if I'm clear.
Yeah, it's okay. Very quickly, we'll keep our questions very short so that everybody has a chance to ask their questions. She's going to answer these, but for those who are coming to answer next, to ask questions next, I request that you take like a minute or two, ask your question so that Shamim has an answer for you, and then she moves on to the next. We have like so many people, with their hands up, and we only have like 12 minutes left. So Shamim is going to answer your question, Dixon, but for the next ones, we've got another 5 hands up. We'll keep it brief and to the point. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So that's a very important question, aligning the CV and making sure that you are relevant to the role that you're applying for. So what I can say is, if you can emphasize, let's say you are applying for a safety officer job, and I want to see how good you are at being a safety officer. The best way to really make my eyes focus on that experience is if you now elaborate even more on the achievements that you've had, the experiences that you've had for that particular role. The rest can be as summarized as possible, just to also avoid that aspect of the job gap, to make sure that you're not intentionally leaving out opportunities just because you don't want people to assume that you can't do that job based on your exposure to other fields. So emphasizing the skills and experience in that particular role can help you actually bring out your competency and prevent you from having that bias that comes with maybe they don't have the hands-on experience in this role. So that can be done. In terms of aligning, this is something that needs to be demonstrated practically. Maybe Sha will organize another session for that. But keywords are very, very important in the aspect of aligning. Even on LinkedIn, if we're searching for people on LinkedIn, it all starts from what is in the job description. That's why hopefully by the time the job description is out, it really has a good understanding of the role, especially what they're expected to do. So if we now, let's say we as the recruiters, we're not very technical, we have not been in the preliminary areas of the field, or we don't know the principles, but we just have a JD and we have a list of people who are in the pool or on LinkedIn or on any other database. I'll simply put keywords from the job description into my search engine and see who's going to come out. I'll see the names, then I'll look at the CV. So just to beat that system, you just have to make sure that when you are customizing your CV, just look out for word by word, even in the description of the role. You know, usually in an advert, there's the title. The title is the first keyword. If that title, even if it's a specialized role, if it doesn't appear anywhere in your whole CV, you might not be found using those tools. So it's important that you first of all put the actual job title as it's written, such that the tool can identify that match first. Then it goes down to now the roles and responsibilities of the different jobs. So just to make sure that each line of roles, it is aligned, you use the similar keywords to explain your own achievements in that same role. You explain using identifiable words that cannot be missed from the job description to really justify your own experience. So it's best demonstrated practically, but if you can really just understand, it's all about keywords. Keywords is one of the key takeaway wordings that you can take from this webinar. Just make sure you read line by line. Look out for those keywords, those identifiable activities. It's mostly a verb. And just make sure that those keywords are in your own CV before you submit it. That way people will find you, or if you're making it general, let's say it's for your LinkedIn profile, make sure that at least all the keywords that can represent you as a professional are indicated in your profile, such that whatever role that they're looking for, whether it's specialized to this, whether it's general, at least your name will pop up, and then they will want to now open the CV and confirm. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Shamim. Before Masereka Gerald asks his question, I'd like to request all the delegates. There is a training evaluation form in the link. Kindly on the chat, please, as you're listening in, we request that you fill it in. We are trying our best to make sure that we serve you better, but we can only improve based on the feedback that you give us. It takes a very short time to fill in. So as we are listening to Masereka Gerald, I request that you please fill in the training evaluation form. So you can unmute yourself, and then please, Masereka Gerald, you can ask your question.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, thank you, Jackie and Shamim. Thank you. I'm so blessed to be part of this. I want to know, like, more special on the cover letter. Like, we have tried, like, when you're applying, you do your cover letter, and you get recommendations from where you have volunteered, and you're very sure, and you'll be specific on the job description. But again, you're being left out. They tell you there's something lacking, honestly, on your cover letter. How best could I do my cover letter to make it outstanding? Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't get the first part of the question. Could you say it again?
I'm like, you get recommendations from these guys who have been like for me, I've been volunteering in several places. I get recommendations from them when I'm applying for a specific job. I design my cover letter and I be specific on the job description, on the advert that I've seen. So, and it comes, they tell me my cover letter was lacking. How best would I design my cover letter? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So as long as you can focus on putting those keywords from the job description onto your cover letter, even if you have not done them practically, you can at least give them an opportunity to meet you and see. However, if it's clear that they need maybe quite a number of years of experience and you clearly don't have them, at times there's a reason for that. At times they really don't have maybe the time or the budget to input in training. Maybe there's a project that's running, and if you don't get someone who's plug and play, then there are going to be so many things that are affected. So at times it's really that a competency question, competency gap. So if you don't get this opportunity, don't lose hope. Just move on and apply for another one. Because at times they're really strict on the criteria. If you don't have this number of years of experience, if you don't have these qualifications, if you don't have maybe this additional training, then I'm sorry, we might not be able to take you on. That way you just use it as an eye-opener. Like, okay, now let me go for this training. Let me learn something new. Let me demonstrate my abilities even more. Use it as a motivator rather than making you feel less of yourself or like you're not worthy of this profession or this job. Just use it to rethink, re-strategize, and put yourself out there even more. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I hope you can see the training form. It's in the training evaluation form. It's in the link. Kindly click and go on to it. I do not see who the next person is. I don't know what I've done to my settings. Who's the next person on the list for the questions? I hope we haven't run out of time. Not yet.
Joseph Onyango.
Okay, Joseph Onyango, kindly ask your question in a minute so that you can get an
Thank you.
answer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Shamim. Thank you, Jackie, for getting this session done, and thank you for others for attending. Okay, my take is just on. I wanted to get comments from Shamim, like some of us who have been in the employment, okay, work for the company, but also we do side, I can call side jobs. Probably have a personal company that we do. Like for instance, if you're applying for a company, another company, or for another role, is it something that is advisable for us to include those activities that we have been involved in outside our company in them? Said that probably could increase our chances. What's your take on that? Because one time I had an experience where they were telling me that when you do put those things, may demonstrate for your potential employer to be non-committal to him in case they hire you. I don't know what's your take. What was your take in terms of that? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joseph. It depends on what you reflect as your job title or roles, because it might be your own initiative and you write that you're the CEO. So that means that it will be hard for you to delegate, meaning this is your baby, this is your priority. What you're getting with us is just for additional income. So that's the bias that comes with that. If you do say that this is my own thing, my initiative, the assumption will be that it's a distraction, unless you can really justify that it's something that you do out of working hours. But if it's a project or if it's a business, if you show that you cannot leave it, it's yours, maybe you're not an employee, etc., then there's a high chance it can bias the viewer, unless they have headhunted you, like they already know your capabilities and they're willing to give you an offer that will probably help you forget about your business or your side hustle, such that you can focus and put all that knowledge and expertise on them. So if you, maybe just to be on the safe side, you can always put a title that's similar to what you're doing, even if it's not the title itself, but the roles, they should be similar in alignment with what you're applying for, such that it still shows that you're building your capacity for the role that you're applying for, rather than you're coming to show that you're a boss, you've even created something in competition. You don't want them to have that feeling or sense, because indeed, the last thing that an employer wants is to invest in you, and at the end of the day, they're not getting results, because the assumption will be that I declared to you that I had my business. I declared to you that I was the CEO. So that distraction, even something related to your education, you have to demonstrate that even if you're pursuing higher education, a master's, a PhD, a degree, it will not affect the working hours. You just have to give them that confidence in you. So the best way is to really declare that you only do it during this time or during the leave period, something that will keep them from seeing it as a distraction. Thank you. Sorry, Jackie, you're muted.
Sorry, I messed up. I played up with my settings. I can't see the other hand, which is up. The next person to ask the question so that we can have their question answered.
I see Geoffrey and Lyndon.
Okay, Geoffrey, please go ahead and ask your question and mute yourself.
Thank you very much, Jackie and Shamim.
Okay.
This has been so inspirational. In fact, I've at least learned something. But my question goes to, I heard the Shamim talk about the soft skills. That includes the webinars as well as the trainings one has attained. I would love to know, how do you align this? Because some of us have like 10, 11 trainings that you even have certificates. In order to make your CV to look precise and simple, how do you align this? Secondly, I know grammar is one of the components that's looked at so much when you are writing CVs. Do we have like an app or something that we can use online that can clearly guide one on bringing out clear grammar? Because sometimes you may reread and think what you have written is right, and yet there are so many things that you have put which are wrong. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. So first, for the first question, how to align your trainings, just as I said, I won't even get tired of repeating this. It has to be in line with the job description. You can have different kinds of trainings, but there are some that are closer to what they're looking for. There's some that that even you believe that if you're to look at it from the other point of view, you'll see that it's not as relevant to the job as this other one. So if you are limited in space and you want to align and customize, just make sure that whatever you are applying for, you include only the trainings that promote those skills in that role. About the grammar, even Microsoft Word itself has a spell check function before you save a document. it actually underlines the areas that need correction. Someone has written in the chat as well, there's Grammarly. If you want to, if you have your way of expressing something and you feel like it's not it's not coming out right, you can also use the AI chat GPT to just copy, paste, and say, please rephrase for me this. Maybe it's your profile, please rephrase for me to make it more professional. And it will create the same exact angle to what you're trying to bring out, but just in a more professional way. So those are some of the tools you can use. Microsoft Word itself, Grammarly, ChatGPT. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shamim. Still, I can't see the hands which are up. I don't know how many more. We've overshot our time by 6 minutes. Okay, we started a bit late. I don't know how many more hands are up. Maybe one?
We have 4.
Okay. What is the consensus? I know people are going to work. Can I give each a minute to ask their question, and then Shamim will answer, and we'll close it at that. Can we hear all the 4 questions, and then we close the questions and we have the answers? Shamim will tell us the topmost things that put her off when she looks at people's CVs, and then we'll have our organizers have the closing remarks, So for the 400 which are up, please let's hear your questions all in one go. Then Shamim will answer all your questions in one go, and then we'll have, the lasting remarks from Shamir telling us, the do's, as in the don'ts, things that really put her off when she looks at a CV that you don't even get a chance to an interview. And then we'll have our president and our leaders give us our closing remarks, and we'll be able to go back to work. Thank you. So let's hear all your questions one at a time. Each has a minute. Just ask your question, and that's it. They'll all be answered in one go.
Okay, thank you. I can begin.
Yes,
thank
please.
you, Shamim and Jackie and Shao for this session. My question is, there are situations whereby you work in a company, let's say for a short time, and you change location of job. What advice do you have on putting this on the CV? And there are situations where we are advised some jobs where you worked for a very short period, you omit them from the CV. Just advise on that. Thank you.
Okay, great. Let's listen to the next question, please. And those who ask, please put your hands down once you've asked. Thank you. The next person, you can ask, you can ask, Joseph, you can ask your question. I thought you had already asked Joseph. Matovo Isaac, you can ask your question, and then they'll all be answered at once. Shamim is noting them down.
Yes, thank you very much, Jackie. Thank you very much, Shamim. This has been really an eye-opening for some of us. My question is, I don't know how really I should phrase it, but if maybe someone is having different experience. For example, currently I'm doing a different role, and I'm really maybe doing some different field. For example, HSE, and currently I'm doing a different role. How is it really relevant if maybe I'm applying for the same role I'm doing and I really include the different career, or maybe the different experience I'm trying to have? Is it really necessary, or sometimes it is not? For example, if currently I'm doing a different role, maybe in logistics, and I'm currently also having or doing studies within HSE, is it really, or maybe I have also acquired some qualifications in HSE, is it really also worth it for me to also to include them onto my CV? For example, I'm still applying for the same role. Is it really necessary, or sometimes it really doesn't make sense because sometimes you apply and you don't see any response, and it is the question I'm asking myself: is it really necessary for me to add it, or I should also make it a different CV. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for your question. Sorry, I can't see the hands. I played about with my settings. Shamim, which other hand do you see up?
Media.
Okay. Please ask your question. We're going to answer all the questions once so that we close the Q&A. Please.
Good afternoon to you, for those who are in Uganda, and good evening and good morning. I want to first of all thank you so much, Mrs. Jackie and Mrs. Shamim, for this for being here with us. But I have a question. I'm still a student, but yet to complete. I'm under engineering. There are these free online courses that we usually do. They're about health and safety, and I usually get a number of certificates. Right now, I have 5, but there are others that I'm yet to receive. But I'm wondering, is it okay if I can add them like to my LinkedIn profile or to my CV in case I'm to apply for an internship in the coming time? Is it okay? Because it is really putting me in a place where I have to either exclude some and use a few for which I want to be relevant out there when applying for these internships, because I know I'm not the only one. So yeah, I'm still a little bit puzzled. So please help me out.
Okay, thank you. Please put down your hand once you're done with the question. I think we have 2 more hands. I can't see Shamim. I messed up my settings. Or do we have all the hands down?
No more hands.
Pardon?
No more hands up.
Okay, so we are done with the Q&A. Shamim is going to answer all your questions in one go. Otherwise, we'll be here until 3 p.m. Thank you, Shamim, for your patience. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much, Jackie, as well. And special thanks to those who have asked questions, because we all have our unique challenges. We all have our unique thoughts and interpretations. So it's important that you have the courage to actually bring out your unique question. So I'll start with the change of location, though I don't know if I really picked the actual question. But my assumption is, let's say you've been practicing somewhere else in another region or another country, but you desire to be seen as a flexible person. You can work anywhere. So some of the people that have supported in their job, in their career advancement, there is one that was working in Uganda, and he made a decision to move to the US. So that challenge of not being shortlisted because they assumed that he didn't have the international experience, etc. One of the things that we did with him, that particular friend of mine, is that we left out the location bit and put so much focus on the qualification, the job title, as well as the different aspects of the role that were related to what he was applying for. And believe me, within just a few weeks, he was called for multiple interviews. So just like I had mentioned earlier, sometimes location biases you. So if you have the option of leaving it out completely, let it not be a distraction to you being on a shortlist. Then about the different experiences and roles that you might have, and you're just thinking, is it going to make people think that you don't have experience in that area that you're looking for? Remember my story. I only had skills in customer service, but I had done a qualification in HR, and I wanted to bring it out. What I can say is that experience that you're having at that moment actually builds some of the characteristics and soft skills that are needed. You're doing logistics, you desire to be in HSC either immediately or in the near future. Those aspects can actually build in those soft skills that you're trying to showcase. So if you want to just play it safe, as you're writing down what you're doing, just include aspects of health and safety, aspects of the job that you're trying to showcase that you're able to do. Once someone reads it, it will just be speaking passion, speaking all your competencies. I started with an administrative job, but I would say I would organize interviews, I would support in training, preparation, but that's all administrative work, but I was speaking HR terms and making sure that the reader sees that I know the principles based on what I'm doing in my organizing of the files and etc. Sooner or later, I was shortlisted for a managerial job in HR. So what does that say? It says that everything that you're doing builds on your profile. It's part of the gathering years that you're putting together. About being a student and you're going through all the certifications, I would say absolutely. At that stage, you're selling your reputation, you're selling something that people can't see yet. There's still that mystery around, will you be able to handle? So anything that can showcase your effort, your passion, as long as it's related to the job, please include it in the CV. Even if there are quite a number, that's actually how I structured my CV for my first job. I'd attended so many trainings in HR, so I put them all there such that it can speak volumes for and boost my experience that was really lacking at the time. But now that I've gotten to a point where I've at least risen through the ranks, I don't need to put all those multiple trainings. Now I'm putting more of my experience. So as you grow in your career, you'll realize that also the way you create your CV, the way you structure your CV grows. There's so many people who can actually help you to practically review your CV, HR people out there, even I can support. Just get someone to see it from a different perspective and advise you that, yeah, indeed, this is speaking volumes of you. Someone who reads it will think this of you. So yeah, that's what I can say for now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ramim, for your time, to all the delegates for their time. It's been like 2 hours. But Shabib, give us just a few things that make you discard a CV. Like what are the don'ts? Don't do this. Straight away you're disqualified. Straight away the CV is going to be used to wrap mandazi and chapati and all those things, as in no chance to an interview. What are the things that we should not even dare go to? Just give us at least that summary. Please, thank you.
Yes, so first thing, if it's not aligned, you're applying for a job, let's say in HSC, and the whole CV is around accounting, I'll be like, I wish I had an application tracking system to help prevent me from looking at all these CVs that are a total no match. So apply for the right job, look out for the jobs that actually complement what you've done or what you desire to do. Then the grammatical errors, if I see it once, I can be like, it's okay. But if I see it multiple times in every sentence, already that bias is there that this person who's going to make mistakes in my own reports, let me not even risk, like it's already a red flag. Maybe another thing is if the CV is not aligned, the words are in different fonts, basically the appearance itself, however good you are, however excellent your CV is, though, if I have someone who is as good as you but has a neat CV, properly aligned, fonts looking very good, someone has put in effort basically, I'll be like, you know what, let me just look at this person, let me forget about it. And however good you are, and you maybe you're even recommended by other people, someone might just have that bias of I can't trust you, I can't put my efforts into meeting you because I might be disappointed in the end. These are red flags I'm seeing. So those are the basic overview items that I would say that really can put a recruiter off.
Okay, thank you very much, people. You now know the don'ts, which means you'll write your CVs properly. So I hand back to Rachel and the SHAO management team for their closing remarks so that we can go back to work. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you, to thank you, Shamim, for taking us through, to thank all the delegates, to thank the SHAO management for organizing this session, and all the delegates for setting aside the time to attend. So I hand over to the SHAO management to please give us the closing remarks.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Jackie and Shamim, for this wonderful session. It is time for learning and unlearning. Of course, there are some things that have been done wrong, and this time I'm very sure everyone has a take home. I want to thank the speaker, Shamim. You've been there every time we call you upon. I think you should be a SHAO member now, because you've been there for us, and we should look into that. For Jackie, I know you're very passionate about this, and she's always passionate about CV writing, because every time she recruits, she says, but you people, you need to focus on this. Don't tell me your job description, because that is a job description that is given to you. So you need to talk about your achievements. You need to give correct information. I personally I've gone through something that someone asked me for my CV. I gave to them. Then they copy and pasted my information. So I am the one who received the call, and I did not know actually what the job was all about. But they were telling me, I'm from this, and we are calling you for an interview for monitoring and evaluation. Then I was like, monitoring and evaluation? How did it reach there? Then only to find that someone used my information. Actually, when I gave them the CV, they just copied and correct and pasted, and ended up using my information, which is wrong. I also want to thank the audience for being there for 2 hours. We cannot take it for granted. It is really a sacrifice. We know most of you are at work, and we don't take this for granted, so we thank you very much. We also want to thank the organizers. We have people who are behind this, Derek, Rachel, and the team. They are always behind and ensuring that we have the best, and we don't take this for granted. But also we want to thank our partners from Kenya, WASPAC, TOHASA. I'm very sure I've seen many WASPAC members on call, and I've seen also the TOHASA members on call, plus the HR Managers Association. We thank you, Shamim, for always being there for us, and the association as well. We believe that with this information, we are going to get more and more. And we believe that those soft skills they've talked about, actually confidence, you need to start believing in yourselves. When you're writing, let the information reflect who you are. Otherwise, you might end up not being hired. So if you want to be hired, like when I go on LinkedIn, I have gotten many calls from recruiters, and yeah, we are interested in you, we are interested, but maybe some of them we turn them down because maybe they are not what we want. But you should be able, the CV should be able to speak for you. So it is a take home for us that we go and improve on our CVs, and we thank you very much. I want you to stay well, and God bless you all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody. We are going to close this meeting to an end. And being a Friday, we are celebrating our 61st independence today. So at least I have a program for the evening at our embassy. Karibuni. Thank you. Asanteni. Have a good weekend. Thank you so much. And we now call this meeting to a close. This webinar to a close. Please fill in the training evaluation form. Thank you very much and have a good bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.